Hello students, welcome to session 3, module 4, part 2. So just briefly we'll see what we discussed so far. In the previous session 2 video, we discussed a lot on the amplification mechanism and background of EDFA, that is erbium doped fiber amplifier. Amplification mechanism here, as you can see, it is based on the optical pumping compared with external current injection in the semiconductor optical amplifier. Except that besides all these things, the pumping mechanism may be optical or current, the working of optical amplifier may be SOA or EDFA would be remaining same. So based on the pumping, we'll have the stimulated emission, then resulting into the population inversion, that is optical amplification. So next, the working of EDFA here. Okay, so figure you can see. So students, you can listen this one carefully. Working of EDFA is a very important part that I am covering today, and one question is fixed on this, and I request all of you to, even suggest all of you to work out this diagram as I shown here. Try to put more information with the diagram itself. So you can put all these band gap energies also, which is not there in the textbooks or notes, but not this one, the note just I quoting here. So let us start how we can explain the working of EDFA. Okay, so how we can explain the first one? Figure shows energy band diagram of the erbium doped fiber amplifier. It mainly consists of three bands: ground state band, pump band, and metastable band. AB will indicate lower and upper ends of the ground state band. CD will indicate respectively lower and upper surfaces of the metastable band. Okay, so this is what you can explain about the energy band diagram of the EDFA. Next we'll start the operation. The whole working or operation of EDFA is divided into three parts as shown in the figure. The first one is a 980 nanometer pumping. First one 980 nanometer pumping. Second one 1480 nanometer pumping. Third one spontaneous emission or stimulated absorption and stimulated emission. 4 parts totally. Okay, so what is happening here is that, so erbium doped ions will be there, which will contain 3 valence electrons in its outermost orbits. Okay, so transition of outer electrons of these ions to higher energy states is called process of raising the ions to the higher energy levels. Okay, so what is happening here is that I will just start the first part here. After the explaining the diagram, you will start the explaining the first part, that is 980 nanometer pumping. Okay, so here I suggest you to remember these band gap energies. Here during 980 nanometer pumping, more band gap energy is there compared to remaining. Okay, we'll go to next slide where we'll start the explaining the normal 980 nanometer pumping mechanism. That is the first part of the operation of EDFA. So during 980 nanometer pumping, okay, so what is happening? The light beam which is falling on the ground state band at a particular frequency, listen here carefully, the light beam which is falling at a particular frequency on the ground state is absorbed by the erbium ions Er3+, and they will acquire more energy, then jump to the next higher band, that is a pump band. So this process is called transition process 1, or also known as pump transition, and it will involve radiation. Radiation is liberated. It is going to lose 3 valence electrons and it is going to release the radiation. Okay, this is a transition process 1. So when Er ions will reach the pump band, they will be there only for 1 or less than 1 microsecond. Their lifetime is there. After that they will decay there, come back to the metastable state, upper portion, that is a D portion of the metastable band. So when they are falling, they are going to lose some of its energy. They are going to lose some of its energy. So without any radiation, and this one is occurring very much fast, because they are going to be there only for less time, less than 1 microsecond, then they are going to fall back to the layer of metastable band very much fastly without any liberation of radiation, but energy is released. So such kind of energy release in photons emission without any radiation are called phonons. Phonons are nothing but photons which are liberated without any radiation. Try to remember this. Phonons are photons which are liberated without any radiation. Then that is a transition process 2. That is called transition process 2. So during transition process 1, that is a pump transition, radiation is there. During transition process 2, the ER ions are going from pump band to metastable band, D layer. Okay, so where no radiation is there, that is called non-radiative decay. So here phonons are liberated, excess energy is released as phonons. So what is happening here? So during the decay time, some of the excess phonons will try to accumulate in the, most of them will try to accumulate in the lower portion, C portion of the metastable band. Okay, so there, because of the large accumulation of photons or phonons and the C layer of the metastable band, population inversion will start taking place. Try to understand this. Now they came to D layer, then after some time they will start accumulating more in number at the bottom of the metastable band, that is C, and this results into the population inversion or optical amplification. At 15, around 1500 nanometers, population inversion will start taking place. So this is what happening during normal 980 nanometer pumping. Okay, so next that's what he is telling. Within the metastable band, electrons of excited ions tend to populate the lower end of the band, that is resulting into the population inversion and optical amplification. This is how we are getting optical amplification we are using 980 nanometer pumping. Okay, so next we'll see 1480 nanometer pumping. So here it will not transition process 3 and 4. Okay, so here what is happening, again a light beam at particular frequency falling on the ground state band will excite the ER ions. 3 electrons will be, valence electrons are dedicated, they will jump to the D layer. Here you can see the arrow mark is shown, jump to the D layer, excites an electrons from ground state to the lightly populated. D layer is lightly populated compared to C layer. Okay, then these electrons tend to move down to more populated, that is a C layer. Okay, that is called transition process 4. Only two processes are there. One is pump transition from ground state to the less densely populated D layer of metastable band, that is where radiation is liberated. Second, from D to C layer, from less to more populated region, these electrons will be coming there. Okay, so what is happening here is that is transition process 4. Some of the ions, okay, sitting at the metastable level, some of the ions sitting at the metastable level, maybe at the D or C level, decay back, tend to decay back to the ground state in absence of stimulating photon flux. Light beam will be given at particular frequency only for fixed duration. After that, when light beam is removed, photon pumping is removed, then in absence of that, some of them will try to come back to this here. Okay, so this is called actually spontaneous absorption. Spontaneous, you can see spontaneous emission. Here you can see it has been shown here, transition process 5. Some of them will try to come back to ground state, and they, while doing so, they are going to mix up with these photons which are moving in this direction, but they are coming in this direction, opposite direction. So because of that, recombination takes place. These what they are falling, no, they are going to recombine with them. Because of that, there is a more noise. Amplification noise will be liberated. So this is going to add amplifier noise. So that's why here, listen here, comparative statement I am telling. This 1480 nanometer pumping, even though it is advantages, it is less likely used as practically used compared to 980 nanometer pumping because of some reasons. First reason, less noisy. 980 nanometer pumping, there is no any spontaneous emission. There is no any spontaneous emission means electrons are not jumping back and trying to recombine with these propagating photons in the ground state and resulting into the amplifier noise. So in 980 nanometer pumping, no spontaneous emission, hence no recombination and less noisy. Okay, so this is the first difference. That's why 980 nanometer pumping is more useful than 1480 nanometer pumping. Okay, so this is very important point, underline this. 980 nanometer pumping, why it is advantageous? Because in 980 nanometer pumping, there is no any spontaneous emission, means no any falling down of ER ions back to the ground state, electrons back to the ground state, hence no recombination, hence no noise or less noise will be there compared to 1480 nanometer pumping. So because of this, another advantage, second advantage, what you can say, power conversion efficiency, photon conversion efficiency. Because here what we are doing, we are sending our information that is in the electromagnetic signal form, electric and magnetic field form is modulated by the light and converted to photons. Our electrical signal is converted to photons, electrons are converted to photons. That conversion efficiency is more in 980 nanometer compared to 1480. This is the second advantage. Are you listening this? These two are very important key points of this answer. You should tell when you stop at the conclusion of 1480 nanometer pumping, why this 1480 nanometer pumping is 980 nanometer pumping is practically more useful than 1480. First one, no spontaneous emission, 980 nanometer pumping, no combination, less noisy. That's what is advantage. Second one, its conversion efficiency, electrons to photon conversion efficiency is more in 980 compared to 1480. Okay, so this is how we can explain about 1480 nanometer pumping. Okay, so this still hope you are with me. We are discussing the working of EDFA only. We completed 980 nanometer pumping, then we are now concluding 1480 nanometer pumping along with spontaneous emission here. Okay, so two parts. Now you can see, so such excited ions which are there in the metastable state will try to come to ground state either by spontaneous emission like this or by stimulated emission like this. Okay, so when they will come back at 1550 nanometers. Okay, so here you can see that is a transition process 6 he is showing. Small percentage of photons absorbed by the ions in the ground state. During spontaneous emission, some of the photons, some of the excited electrons are going to collide with some of the ions here. That's what he is telling. Again, raising these ions back to the metastable state, absorbed and sending them back to the metastable state. That is called transition process 6. Okay, it's something like reflection. That's how light beam is going to undergoing multiple reflections in the Fabry parotid cavity between two cavities. The same thing is happening here. Because of that, many times recombination takes place. That is going to increase the amplifier noise. That is not a good thing. So that is about the stimulated absorption. Stimulated absorption because of the spontaneous emission. Okay. So next one you can see transition process 7. Signal photon triggers an excited ion to drop to the ground. Here you can see they are coming back to the ground here, emitting new photon of the same energy. This is important. So they are so powerful that they are going to bombard and collide. After colliding, they are liberating new photon of the same energy. That is actually called polarization. It is going to result into the polarization. So the difference between this and this spontaneous emission, stimulated emission, is that in spontaneous emission we don't have the liberation of photons of same energy, means no polarization, but here polarization is happening. So this is how you have to conclude the operation of EDFA. Okay, so we'll have to stop here.